happening, we will be keeping that in English. So I hope you're going to get this session. And Sir Sumair, you have to be a little bit slow, slow while talking.
Okay. So see, okay, let me just officially start this then. Okay. Hey, hello everyone. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sumair Baloch, and I work as a practice head for the Google Cloud platform in a company called Royal Cyber. So what I basically do is I look over the complete practice of GCP. In short, anything that is tech related in the company for the Google Cloud platform is somewhat comes under my responsibility, whether it's about managing the resources, getting the right people to work on projects, understanding client requirements, being a part of pre-sales and post-sales activities. So pre-sale activity means that getting on calls with customers, trying to understand their requirements, their understanding, and then, giving them the right resources so that, they could work on it. And also creating solutions and services using Google Cloud Platform and then promoting those services to other customers. We work very closely with Google itself. We are a direct partner to Google. So we work very closely with them and work with one of the Fortune 500 companies, managing their services and then giving them the best work that is possible. I've been in the tech industry for more than 10 years now, and I started off as a software developer. If I talk about my journey, I started off as a game developer, to be honest. I used to work on a tool called Unity. I think it's still there. So I started off with Unity, did a bit of work with Unreal Engine as well. And from there, I moved towards PHP. This is way back in 2012, 2013. Back then, Pakistan gaming industry was still an infant. And there was a scarcity of opportunities. So I couldn't continue much on that and had to move towards web development. Start off with PHP. And from PHP, I moved towards JavaScript, specifically Node.js. I was a full stack engineer for a couple of years, I think 3 to 4 years. I was a full stack engineer working on MERN and mean stacks. And from there, I transitioned into an architect for Google Cloud. And recently, I've just, taken up this new role for a practice head where I, do what I just told you guys. So, like managing resources and just being a part of the overall tech journey. So that's a very brief idea of what my career journey is. One of the best things that I could say that happened with me during all of these 10 years was that I was one of the early goers of the cloud technologies. So when cloud technology recently started to move into Pakistan, I was one of the early movers. So because one thing that I loved about working on the cloud was how for everything that you needed to do, you had a service for it. You had some level of ease on that. You had a particular artifact on it, whatever you wanted to do. So let's say you want to create a login system, you could use Firebase Authentication, which is a built-in service for creating login system. Or if you wanted to do some asynchronous tasks, you could use PubSub, or you could use Cloud Tasks, which were like built-in services for doing that. If you wanted to, work on serverless computing, you could use Cloud Functions, or you could use Kubernetes and hyperventions. So basically, for every type of work that you wanted to do, cloud computing had a pre-built service for you to achieve that. And if for some reason you weren't able to do that, or if you didn't had that service, you could accumulate other services to get that work done for you. So it felt very easy for me to some extent that I was able to just grab all of these services together, mash them together, and then easily, quickly build my application and ship it to the market. That is one of the key reasons that I very early on started to move towards cloud. Started off with AWS. I worked for quite a while there, and then moved to Azure, and finally for the last 3 years I've been working on GCP. For GCP, I started off as a full stack engineer. I used to develop and code applications on top of it. From there, transitioned into a team lead, and from team lead into an architect, and then eventually architect into a complete practice lead. Working with Google itself, and then the Google and the Google team that is available in Royal Cyber. I hope I'm not too fast. I'm trying to control that. See, yeah, okay, awesome. So one of the reasons that I switched from AWS to GCP was because of my job nature. So we used to get appointed to different platforms depending on what type of customer we're serving. So in AWS, we were once, trying to solve a problem for a customer where we wanted to, you wanted to create a serverless application, but at the same time, we wanted to work very swiftly with asynchronous capabilities, so that if multiple requests are coming in, it should not bottleneck on those requests, but rather be able to entertain all of those requests one by one, keeping a tab on the queue out on top of it. For AWS, the solution was I think it was called, if I remember it correctly, it had GraphQL in it and AppSync. Yeah. So AWS had a service called AppSync, but doing AppSync, you had to do a lot of prerequisites. You need to understand GraphQL because it was very heavily dependent on that. And then I remember there were other touch points as well that you needed to understand, you needed to be a part of in order for you to, be able to implement that. And then there were other core challenges as well since we were using Lambda functions. But when we came over to GCP, GCP had those services already pre-built for us, sort of in some sense. We had Cloud Functions that was a very good replacement for Lambdas. We had Firestore, Firebase, which was a NoSQL database that we were able to create a event-driven architecture where user can, store information into a database, and then we would add triggers on the database that would help us execute particular workloads, which made it a lot easier for us to, implement things on GCP. So that's one of the core. That was my first interaction, to be very honest, with GCP itself. And, I instantly kind of fell in love with it. So that's one reason. So the second reason was GCP in terms of cost is very cost friendly. It doesn't cost you much. One of the core reasons for that is Google has its own internet cables, so to spread throughout the world. So Google uses its own internet to talk to services. So if you have one service, one resource deployed in US East 1 region, okay, and you have another resource that's deployed in US Central 1, these resources can communicate with each other using ingress traffic. Ingress means internal traffic, right? Internal traffic within the organization. You could do that. But other clouds, they're more dependent on other network providers, other network services. So their two resources would actually be more egress way, so that traffic coming out of one zone to the other. So that's why they cost a bit more. So if you do apples to apple comparison, like if I can give you an example, one of our customer here in Royal Cyber was using AWS, and they were incurring a cost of around $30,000 a month on AWS itself. That's how big the infrastructure was. And when we approached them with GCP, so that if they could just migrate their workloads to GCP, if we only did simple apple to apple comparisons, and every same workload that they had on AWS, we shifted that same workload to GCP, and the cost dropped from $30,000 to $17,000. That's like $13,000 savings per month. And again, the key reason for that is in terms of apple to apple comparison, GCP is a bit cost friendly than AWS. But yeah, I would give credit to AWS in terms of computing. So if you're looking for raw compute power, AWS is your cloud for that, because in terms of compute, in terms of processing, they have much more capabilities on that front. Like if I just take two services from two platforms, so for AWS we have Lambda, and from GCP we have Cloud Functions. So Lambdas have the capability of running for 15 minutes, whereas a Cloud Function can only run for 9 minutes. A Lambda has more has more, let's say, more compute power. If I can sugarcoat it, has more compute power when it comes to when it comes to cloud functions, but has more sustainability as well. So that is one of the key aspects of AWS Lambda. That is always there. So if you're looking for raw compute power, very compute intensive applications, and you're ready to pay for the cost, then you can go for AWS. But those are very specific applications, like where you require a lot of raw compute power, very high GPU and specific applications. Like I remember there was this one client who was using GPUs to create analytics for one of their customers. So in that scenario, we preferred them that you should go with the AWS because the type of CPUs that they were using, I think if I remember it correctly, they were kind of using FPGA. I think that was the type of CPU. It's a programmable CPU. Basically, you can code CPU itself on the top of it. So basically, we recommend them to go for AWS if you want to focus on raw compute power. So that's a bit of brief understanding of what each individual raw power is in terms of both of the platforms. So that is what it is. So now the bigger question is, how do I actually get into this field? How do I actually start my journey being a part of the cloud computing industry? So unfortunately, this is what I've observed. I don't know, maybe things have changed a bit here. So once you're part of if you're a part of when you're studying in your universities, one of the key aspects is that you tend to have some limitations to the visibility that you're getting in terms of what career choice should you be making. If you're let's say if you're a student of software engineering or you're a student of computer science, the go-to all alma is always be a coder, right? Be a programmer. So and I've believed that students who don't understand programming, who don't understand coding, they tend to get depressed over time, because obviously that's how everything is created around them. That hey, if you don't code, if you don't know how to code, you're not going to succeed in the industry. See, programming it's important. I mean, you cannot take out that importance out. Why? Because when you code something, it helps you to do analytical deductions. That's why coding is very important, because you're able to analytically deduce the problem. You're able to break down a problem to a bare minimum chunk and able to understand. That's because that's how your mind starts to work while you're coding and while you're trying to build something, right? So it's going to be there, but coding is hard. Okay, I mean, if anyone tells you, hey, coding is easy, no, either they're lying or it's easy for them. So coding is hard. Okay, not everyone can do it, and it requires a lot of focus. It requires a lot of hard work, and most of all, you need to be really passionate about it. You need to be really passionate about coding, right, in order for you to actually succeed. So what are the ways that a student can go for? So you see, as we're looking at the industry right now, things are now moving towards no code solutions. Now there are a lot of tools in the industry where there are a lot of no code solutions available, where you just drag and drop and you have an application built for you. Now that means that the industry is slowly and gradually moving towards a new segment of let's say of the overall scenario, where people would be able to create applications with either little to no coding efforts. And that's a bit scary for people who love coding. I mean, don't worry about that. You won't be losing your jobs, because programmers would always be there. But that shows the tendency that how the market is now moving towards a segment where where people would be like, hey, if you don't know how to code, you cannot exist in this industry. That means it's not true. There are tools where people are able to create applications, create their stuff with little to no coding. So I think WordPress being a very prime example of it. WordPress, I remember WordPress CMS is a no-code platform, right? I mean, you can code if you want using PHP, but if you don't know how to code, you can easily build your website, right? You can easily do that, or you could go for Wix. So these are all platforms that are there, right? And same goes with the other platforms as well, like cloud. For instance, cloud itself. If you know how to how to manage your infrastructure, there is little to no code available for that. You don't have to code a lot if you're designing the infrastructure, if you're managing the infrastructure. So what other ways do we have? So you could either go for being a DevOps engineer or a DevSecOps engineer. You can either be a network engineer. You can either be a cloud strategic engineer. You can be a generic cloud engineer. You could also, work as a migration engineer. So, you can work on all of these different fields, and it's not necessary that you should know how to code stuff. These are all of the great aspects of programming itself that you don't need to know about. So how do you get into all of these cloud engineering and all of these DevOps stuff? So the best way is that you guys can get yourself work on certifications. That's the best, indoor step for you. Like, work on your certifications. You can start off as an associate cloud engineer, if I talk about Google Cloud, and from there you can work on different certifications. You can be a professional cloud engineer. You can be a professional cloud developer, a professional cloud network engineer, a professional AI engineer, an ML engineer. So you have all of these different certifications that you could do, and that would give you a very strong building site for you to actually get into this industry, and very quickly. Because certifications have a lot of value in the industry, because it gives that credibility to the person who are hiring you, that, hey, if this person is certified, that means he knows his stuff. To some extent, he knows his stuff, and that creates that credibility for people who are hiring, who are looking for cloud engineers, data engineers, who are looking for DevOps engineers. So certification is something that is always there. Okay, so the question is, what any website for these certifications? So if you could just have a very quick Google search here. Let me just start. Let me just share my screen with you as well. Let me know if you guys can see it. Okay, hope you guys can see it. All right, so let's say GCP Certifications, right? So right off the bat, we have the main site for Google certifications. So here, if I click on View Certifications, these are all the different certifications that we can find on. So we have Foundational, which is Cloud Digital Leader. We have for Associate as a Cloud Engineer. And then we have all of these different professional certificate engineer, Cloud Architect, Cloud Developer, Data Engineer, Cloud DevOps Engineer, Cloud Security Engineer, Cloud Network Engineer, Machine Learning Engineer, Collaboration Engineer, and also other Looker-based certificate. Looker is a tool that has just recently been been a part of the overall Google Cloud Platform ecosystem. So you have all of these certifications a part of it as well. So if we click on, let's say, Associate for Cloud Engineer. If you click here, so here it gives you all the basic information that you need to know, right? So suppose if you want to look at the exam guide, like what should I be looking up to? So these are all the sections that it's actually focusing on, right? Let me just close out this here, because this is like our official tool for communication. I hope you guys know. So we use Microsoft, by the way. Okay, so. So anyways, so these are all of the different sections that you need to know about in order for you to attempt a Google Cloud associate level certifications. And believe me, this might look a lot, but it's not. If you focus for like a month if you're able to give like 4 to 5 hours a day for a month, you can easily nail this certification out. You can easily nail it out. No worries. So this is all good and dandy, but how do I, where do I do my preparations? Again, you have a lot of content available for that. So one of the best ones that I personally like is a Cloud Guru. So this is where I do my preparations for any of the certifications if I want to. It's a paid site, but nonetheless has very good content. Gives you a lot of prerequisite papers available for it, and you can easily attempt those papers and then be able to judge yourself where you are currently standing with the certification program. So this is a great place where you can do if you want to pay for it. But if not, then I guess the best option you have, you can either go with Udemy, or you could work on. You can even check out all of the YouTube tutorials for it. But again, like I said, associate cloud engineer, it wouldn't take a lot of time for you guys. You can easily nail that certification in a month. But the best part is it'll give you a very quick heads up on what to expect being a cloud engineer on cloud. And again, don't be a fanboy. Okay, I'm quoting here a fanboy. So don't be a fanboy of the platform. Be a fanboy of the technology itself. Love the technology, not the platform. Why? Because see, it doesn't matter what cloud you learn, AWS, Azure, or GCP. It doesn't matter. You just need to learn one, and you'll automatically be able to understand the others as well. Because when it comes to the core foundations, all of them work the same. Okay, all of the services, they have the same foundational aspects. Yeah, but once you go into more advanced topics on top of into them, then you'd be able to understand. Okay, this is different in AWS. This is different in Azure. This is different in GCP, right? So these are few. Then you'll be able to understand. But by that time, you'll be mature enough to actually, have that understanding and tendency to grow yourself, to be able to be adaptable to any of the clouds. You could easily do that. So the other question is, are there any certifications for Amazon side, for AWS? Yeah, definitely. All of the three clouds, the major three platforms, Azure, AWS, and GCP, they provide certifications, all of them. AWS certifications are a bit different because AWS has a path to each certification. So they provide you associate level certifications first. Then from there, you can go with professional ones. So you need to clear out associate before going for professional. But I've recently heard that they have waived off this rule. So you can directly go for a professional certification if you want. But AWS has that path. So it again, same ways, associate architect, professional architect, associate data engineer, professional data engineer, associate cloud engineer, professional cloud engineers. Same path, same ways. So it can actually do that. Yeah, sure, definitely. If anyone wants to have a question, they can just open up the mic. And again, you don't have to write it down, because to be honest, I would love you guys to interact with me by talking to me, and that I would actually love doing that. Adds more human element to the session. So all the platforms are up for you guys. Okay,
sir. Here's a question from Huren. How we can pass this certification? Particularly, I guess she's talking about that Google certifications.
How do you pass? I mean, I kind of don't understand the question.
Kind of overview of procedure.
Okay. All right. Okay. So the way you can pass is by studying. But if you're
she left the meeting. She left.
Okay. All right. So anyways, in order for you to what you can expect in these exams is, this is something that I can definitely help you guys out with. So there are very few straightforward questions. Okay. But it's more focused, but you'd get more scenario based questions. So you'd be given a scenario, and based on that scenario, they would ask you to choose the right option. Now, the part where it gets actually tricky is it'll give you 4 options. Okay. And all 4 of them are correct. You can achieve that situation from all of those 4 options. Now you need to understand some of the key aspects and key elements of those scenarios. So for suppose, let's say a user goes like, okay, cost is not a problem for me. I want high performance and I want it to be available 24/7, let's say, and cost is not an issue for me. Now for that person, what you would do is, okay, if cost is not a problem for you and you want it to be available all the time and every time it should be like highly available for you, then we can put up a virtual machine for you with a huge spec, which would cost you around, let's say, $1,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month, and we can just put up there and it'll run 24/7 and it'll be always be available for you, right? Because the cost wasn't the problem. But the same question could go like, okay, I want high availability, but I want it to be cost friendly. Okay. Now in that case, you can opt for any, serverless scenarios, any serverless applications where you go like, okay, you would only be able to you will only be charged based on usage rather than being charged for just by running it. So serverless applications have this tendency that you'd only be charged if you are using that service. So if nobody's using that service, you won't be charged for it. But if someone is using it, then you'll be charged for it, and those charges are very minimal. And you have to design your architecture in a way that it is able to achieve more by doing less. So that way you'd be charged less. So again, the same question. The question is the same. One has the cost aspect, the other one doesn't have that. So these are the type of questions that you should be expecting in these exams. So you need to find the key factors on what the question is actually looking for. Is it actually looking for compute? Is it actually looking for costing? Is it actually looking for availability? So you need to find that very drastic area, that gray area on what it actually is focusing on. Because the 4 options or the 5 options that it's going to give you, all of them are correct. You could do that with any one of them. It'll work 100%. But one of them is actually the right answer, because it's looking for that particular niche in that question, and you have to identify what niche is it actually looking for. Okay, so next question is there any connection between data science and cloud? If yes, what? Okay, so data science itself is a complete whole practice. Okay, it's a practice on its own. So as software engineering, in software engineering, you are a developer. Now, developer, when I use the word developer, a developer is a person who's able to develop applications, right? So if it doesn't matter what tools does he use, either he works on ASP, he works on Node, he works on PHP, all of them would be counted as developers, right? So developer is a whole practice on its own. Data science is a whole practice on its own. So you have different sections inside of data science. You have data engineering, you have AI, you have ML, you have ML ops, you have AI ops. So you have all of these different sections in data science. And in order for you to do all of these operations or do all of these tasks, cloud vendors provide you services. They provide you the platforms and the tools through which you're able to perform these data science operations. Okay, so that is what is actually is able to do that. So that is how closely they're connected together. So for suppose, let's take an example. You're doing a research where you have to do a lot of computations. Okay, and you cannot afford, let's say you cannot afford a supercomputer to be deployed into a data center and would be running 24/7, right? So you would rather go to any cloud vendor. Let's say you would rather go to GCP, spin up a VM, configure it based on what you want, and then from there run your application inside of it, right? So now you're using a data science operation in a cloud computing environment, and you're getting your job done. So that's how closely related they are. So next question is, are these certifications paid considering all 3 giants in the market? Oh yes, definitely. All of the certifications are paid certificates. So they could cost around $200, $250, $250. Definitely they're paid certificates. That is why they have the worth. But the best part is that you could You could give it anytime you want. The best way that I personally recommend. Sorry. I think, Aisha, you want to say something?
No, I think she accidentally opened.
Yeah,
mic.
no worries.
Right.
Okay. So the best way for preparing for these examinations is that you should lock yourself up. Lock in a sense that you should decide a date that, okay, after 1 month on this particular date, I'm going to give the exam. So you pay Google to lock your exam date. So that way you would have a deadline. And once you have a deadline, you're able to, do better preparations. But the good part is that you could always delay your exam. So you could for some reason, let's say you feel, hey, I'm not ready to give the exam. So you could postpone it 3 times. It allows you to do that 3 times, but at least with a 1 day gap. So for suppose if tomorrow is my exam and you decide to postpone it today, then it'll charge you. But if you have a 1 day gap, then you can easily postpone your exams and just select any latter date, and then whenever you're and then you can give your exam whenever you're comfortable. Okay, so how cloud can aid in data science? Again, I think I've already talked about that. So cloud computing provides you with all of the tools that are necessary for data science. So if I can spin up a quick link here. So, okay, my screen is not shared. Wait, let me reshare it. So let me know if you guys can see it.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's visible.
So I just did a very quick Google search on data science. So as you can see, this is the link that pops up, data science on Google Cloud. Now for every type of, every step of data science that you're looking for, it'll give you it has all of these different tools. So for data discovery and ingestion, you can use data fusion, data catalog, PubSub, BigQuery, data transfer services. For data lake and data warehouse, you have BigQuery, cloud storage, Dataproc, Dataplex. So if you want to do data pre-processing, you have Dataflow and Dataproc. If you want to do machine learning, training and service, you have Vertex AI, AutoML, Spark on Google Cloud, you have BigQuery ML. So you have all of these different tools readily available for you that you can use to perform all of these different operations when it comes to data science. Okay. All right. So next is, sir, what do you think? Which technology in future can replace cloud computing? Okay. When you talk about like which technology can replace cloud computing, see, this is the same question. This is the same way that you would ask someone that, hey, can you replace a battery? Can you replace a battery? If you do, it'll still be a type of battery, So let's say right now you have your phone batteries, right? How long does a phone run for a single charge? 24 hours, 48 hours, right? Depending on the usage. But if we go like, hey, I have a nuclear battery which can run my phone for 1 year. Now, again, although your phone is able to run for 1 year, it is still a battery. Although it's nuclear powered, but it's still a battery, right? So it's another form of battery and it's in your phone. So for cloud computing, I would say that if any other future technology can replace it, it'll still be cloud computing. It'll still be a part of cloud computing. One quick aspect that does come into my mind is that, So one quick aspect that does come into my mind is maybe Web 3.0. So Web 3.0 is a decentralized computing strategy where normally what happens is currently what we can see is that our internet is very regulated, very controlled. So we hire companies and those companies provide us internet, and then those companies are regulated by governing bodies like the country's government, and then eventually that internet leads up to even a bigger company on top of it. So it's very heavily regulated. It keeps it can keep tabs on what you're streaming, what you're looking at, what you're actually browsing on the internet. So it's able to track all of that information. So Web 3.0 is a decentralized web app, let's say a decentralized approach to internet. So rather than governing bodies that can regulate the internet, we all would be connected together in a huge network to share that information with each other. Because if you look at the 10,000 feet overview of internet, it's all it does is share information, right? Me talking to you through this platform, streaming my video, that's me sharing my information to you guys, right? You guys posting your questions, this is textual information coming to me, that's me sharing you guys are sharing your information to me. So even in the end, internet is all about sharing information. So if we can create that web where we all can talk to each other and share information with each other, we wouldn't need a third party, governing body to govern us, right? So that could replace cloud computing to some extent, but again, see, it would be a sugar-coated version of cloud computing. Cloud computing would still be there, because then for Web 3.0, there would be services provided by cloud computing vendors for that you could do certain stuff on Web 3.0, right? So it'll still do that. So that is what it is. So I think it'll be there. It's going to stay there for a really long time. And if it does change, it won't change. It'll mutate. It would mutate into something, some other form, and you would still be a part of the journey. Okay. A lot of good questions, and I'm kind of missing out a few. Let's see. What do you think? We did that. Great. So if I am a data science, is there any need to learn cloud? I would say yes, because you don't need to learn cloud, but you do need to have good understanding on the services that are available on the cloud for data science. Why? Because see, cloud computing services takes a lot of load out of your hand and ships your product much quicker to the market. So companies are really looking forward for you guys to be a part of, for someone to actually know cloud computing. I mean, they should be well versed with the services that are available on cloud computing. So companies are actually looking for people like that. They want people like that to work with, because they know that would save them time rather than someone who would actually build those services for themselves, right? So it's all about either you want to reinvent the wheel. So let's say if I ask you, hey, can you build a car? So you would have two ways. Either you would reinvent the wheel again, or you would get all the parts pre-built and then assemble them together and get a car done. So that's how the mindset is in this overall scenario. Okay, so is any company who hire us for this certification? Well, if you're a certified engineer, let's say if you have certification in Google Cloud, I'm ready to hire you guys. So one of the best thing and the challenging thing about Google Cloud is we don't have a lot of people in the market. It's relatively new when it comes to the big three, but it is definitely catching up and growing very rapidly, because obviously it's Google. But in terms of people in the market, we do have challenges over that. The pay is very good. And we are, but we're not getting the right. But getting the right people is a challenge. So if you're a certified engineer, for GCP, I'll hire you. I'll immediately hire you. I mean after an interview, obviously. But definitely would love to hire you guys.
Okay, sir. A question from my side.
Mm-hmm.
That what is the relationship of cloud with blockchain? Because blockchain is now getting into mainstream, so this is a very important thing.
So again, see, think of cloud as a okay, let me give you guys an example. In the 1800s, in the late 1800s, there was a gold race in US. I think it was in 1800s or 1700s. I don't exactly remember it, but I do remember that there was a gold race. So what happened was, people started finding gold in deserts and mountainous areas. Okay, and once people started to know that, okay, there is gold available there, a lot of people started rushing towards those places to get the gold. Okay, So my question to you guys is, who made a lot of money in this race? The people who were finding the gold, or the people who were selling them tools so that they could find the gold? What do you
That
guys think?
machinery, that people who sold goods to them.
Exactly. So people who sold them goods, who sold them the tools so they could find the gold, actually made a lot more money than people who actually found the gold, because of the rat race, right? Because of people racing towards it, and so much influx of people who came inside to find the gold. They ended up buying those tools in such a high pace that it actually made them more money rather than people who actually found gold. So cloud computing is exactly like that. So think of cloud computing as a place where you can find the tools to run that technology, to execute that technology. Okay, that is what it actually is. Simple as that. Okay, so if you want to do blockchain work, again, cloud computing would have those tools, would have those required platform for you to achieve that technology. So you could do that if you want to run something on blockchain. So you could do that, definitely. Okay. Okay. So what are the prerequisites for foundation level certification of or cloud computing as a whole? What are the prerequisites of for foundation level? See, prerequisites, definitely you should be able to understand what a virtual machine is. You should be able to understand hypervision. You should be able to understand virtualization as a bare bone. Then the second aspect is that you should be able to understand how how networking kind of works. Like, what's a VPC? What's a subnet? How does all of that work in this scenario? So you see that these are some of the prerequisites, but this is something that you can easily learn. Okay, this is something that you can easily, very quickly learn, because you need to have some basic understanding of all of this before you actually dive into the more advanced topics on it. Okay, so all right. Thank you. Impressive. Definitely good. Inshallah. Okay, great. Looking forward to it. Anything for us in the opportunity? Like I said, get certified or learn about GCP and apply. Just apply for it. Or we do have internship programs as well. We'll be announcing them pretty soon from the company. Okay. Okay. Will you? Okay. Will you? Sorry. Okay. Will you? Will come to you, sir. After the week. Okay. Great. Okay. How much knowledge about GCP should we have to become a GDE in this specific technology? Sorry about that. Okay, so how much knowledge about GCP should we have to become a GDE in this specific technology? About GCD, I'm sorry, I'm not able to. I don't know about these terms. Google Development Engineer. I mean, what do you mean by GDE? I'm sorry, I don't get that term. What is the usage of utility computing? What is the usage of utility computing? Okay. Again, could you just elaborate more on this question? What do you mean by usage of utility computing? I'm sorry, I'm not able to get that. An internship program for data scientists. Yeah, we do that. We definitely have all of these internship programs. You guys can just check out the Royal Cyber LinkedIn page, Royal Cyber Asia, and the main Royal Cyber page for if you guys would love to look up for the internships. Okay, so sorry, it's GCP, not GCD. Okay, so you're saying that to become and what do you mean by GDE? I'm sorry, I'm not getting that GDE part. Or
okay,
maybe
let me tell you about GDE. GDE program is from Google for basically GDE is a Google developer expert in a particular Google technology.
Okay, GDE. Okay, now I get it.
I guess we have that. We have that in Google Cloud. We have GDEs.
Okay, Google development. Okay, expert. Okay, so I would like to pardon on that because I don't have much information on that area. I think your chapter, the GDG people could actually help you on that, or I could read about it and let you guys know how does that all work. It's more, I think, related to students, I guess, to university affiliation. I'm not sure.
Not exactly. It is like a professional part of GDSC. Like this is GDSC on university level or on college level students. For community of professional people, we have GDE program or GDG, Google Developer Groups.
Got it. So this is all about, this is more towards, what do you call that? There's a term for it. I'm not able to recall it, but in Urdu you call it tabligh, technology ki tabligh, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Evangelism.
Yeah, evangelism. Okay. Yeah, sorry. don't know much about that area. I've never been able to explore that. Okay. So are there any other questions or are we done? Come on, I was expecting, like, you guys are very much focused on very, very basic questions. I mean, you have this guy with 10 plus years of experience. You can ask me trivial questions.
Actually, you are facing university students.
No, I understand. Definitely understand.
Actually, we have a very low strength, although it is good because 21 participants is a good number. We usually have 70 to 80 participants, but the now problem is the timing that we have set. Many students are now commuting to their homes in points, so therefore we don't have a good strength.
No, definitely. I remember you when you were asking me to to schedule that time. Unfortunately, the problem is that I work in the Eastern time zones, so my workloads are are bare minimum during these hours. But once the 6 p.m. mark hits, after that, I'm really busy in meetings and have a lot of calls with my clients and internal communications. So definitely, it was hard for me to be available on those times. But again, it's really nice that you guys could take some time out, be a part of it. I would like to share one quick announcement with all of you. We are coming to Mehran University in Feb. So this is probably going to be either in the first or the second week, and we're going to talk a lot more about Google Cloud itself, and be very much be able to. I think at that time we'll be able to connect more frequently. What I've come to know is that you guys have your exams next week.
Exams for one ed batch, final year batch.
Okay.
You coming on 3rd Feb, right?
3rd or I mean either 3rd Feb or the week after that, probably, or the week after that. So we're working on the dates.
We are having a mega event at our department, software department, Tech Arena. Okay. Have you ever heard about it?
Yeah, I've been looking at these posts. I saw a few posts for it.
Okay, so looking forward to see you there.
Okay, yeah, definitely. I'll try my best to be there.
Okay, there's a question from my side.
Sure.
That what is actually trending in foreign countries abroad? Because let's talk about Japan. Japanese companies are switching to cloud. Their local, what you can say, storages. They were using FileMaker. So now they are just trying to put them in a cloud. So Amazon Web Services is getting kind of hot cake there. So what are your thoughts on it?
So what do you want my thoughts on? Like Amazon being a hot cake or like people moving to cloud? Which part do you want me to talk about?
Kind of both. People are moving to cloud, and companies are looking forward to host their files into a database, cloud database.
Yeah, and see, it's exactly like so you have two options, right? Either you build your own data center, manage that data center, and then bear the expenses, hire people to manage that data center, bear their expenses, and then bear the electricity cost and everything, right? So either you do that or you go to a vendor and just ask them, hey, I want to host this. what are my charges? And they're going to go like, hey, okay, these are your charges if you want to host this. So you don't have to hire people. You don't have to manage a whole infrastructure, physical infrastructure on your end. All you need to do is to understand how you want to host that application, host that piece of code, host that piece of program in your environment, for your environment, and you just have to focus on that particular key area. You don't have to hire a 10 people team of experts. You only need 1 or 2 people to do that, so your cost would go down. So, and eventually you'd be able to ship your product much quicker to the market, right? So it's exactly the way the industrial revolution came up to. So before the industrial revolution, people used to generate, factories used to generate their own electricities. They had their own generators inside of the factory, which used to generate those electricity, right? Then third-party companies came in. They went, hey, we can provide you electricity, and we're just going to ask you for these charges for the electricity that you're using, right? So people immediately rushed onto it. Why? Because they don't have to manage cost for the generator. They don't have to hire a 10 people team just to manage those generators and then keep the power stable and up and ready. They didn't have to do that. Okay. All they had to do was pay for the cost for the electricity that they're using. So same case with cloud computing. So people are moving to cloud computing because they want to come out of the hassle of managing their own physical infrastructure. Simple as that.
Okay. Sir, let's consider a scenario that I am given a task to upload or to host all the data from a company, which is about 40 to 50 gigabytes of data that I have to host on a particular platform, either on Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud Platform, or we have Microsoft Azure as well. So what do you think, what can be the better option to go?
I'm sorry, I was actually turning on my light. I missed half your question. I'm really sorry about it. Can you repeat that?
Let me repeat. So consider I am given the scenario that I have to put company's whole database onto the cloud, which is about 40 to 50 gigabytes, a medium-sized company.
Okay.
And I have 3 options, either to go with GCP, Microsoft Azure, or Amazon Web Services. What do you think? What is going to be the better option?
That totally depends on your requirements. I mean, what type of data are you looking for? So is this typical file data, or is this a database data, or is this totally something else? So it all depends on what type of information that you're looking for to store in the cloud. The second is that you would be also looking for how quick the service can be provided and how cost effective would it be based on all of the cloud vendors that you have. So it totally depends on multiple parameters for you to decide which cloud you want to move to. Because it's not just about storing the data, it's about processing the data and then eventually using that data for something, right? That's why you're storing it. So you have to answer a lot of other questions before you actually go towards the part that, hey, I want to choose Azure, I want to choose GCP, I want to choose AWS. Sometimes what happens is let's say 40 GB data is okay, right? So we deal with data in terabytes and terabytes. So I mean, when we say, hey, 40 GB data, we go like, okay, it's very small. We can easily manage that. We get very happy when we hear the word 40 GB. But the challenges come when the data goes into terabytes or petabytes. That's where the challenge actually starts to come, because that's a lot of data, and to move that data, you need to have a lot of you need to do a lot of strategic planning to move that amount of data from one place to another. For example, if let's say you were hosting that data on-prem means in your own data centers, right? You had data for around let's say 50 terabytes. For suppose 50 terabytes of data, you were hosting that on-prem. Now you want to move that data to the cloud. Now that's a bit challenging. Why? Because number one, that's a lot of data to move from one point to another. Number two, the integrity of the data itself. The data needs to be safe. The data needs to be secure. There are multiple services provided by different cloud vendors. Google Cloud has a service where it would physically go to your data center on-prem, take that hard drive of your data, and then physically load that data into their data centers. They actually do that for like big for when you have a lot of data, like they might not be doing that for terabytes, but for petabytes they definitely do that. For terabytes they do that as well, but it wouldn't make much sense. So then you have other services of virtual private networks from point A to point B to transfer that data from one point to another point. Now here you'd be looking at the costs. How cost friendly would that be? And based on these questions and assumptions, you'd be able to make a decision that you want to go with either Azure, AWS, or GCP.
Okay. So everyone, the link has been sent in the chat box. You have to fill that attendance and feedback form in order to get your certificate of participation. So in the last, I want to guide you. I want you to guide. Okay, what are the basic things that we should keep in mind in our programming career? Some simple steps, some disciplines that we have to follow as a programmer.
So number one, choose one programming language, work on that one programming language. Why? All of the other programming languages at the core level are same. Every programming language has conditional statements. Every programming language has functions. Every programming language has loops, right? It's just about how we write them. It's the differences in the syntaxes, the differences in the execution steps, right? But the core fundamental level, every programming language is the same. So if you know one programming language well enough, you can easily learn the other one. You can easily adapt and move to the other one. You can easily do that because you know the basics of that one programming language. So don't jump from one language to the other based on the fact that, hey, this language is hot in the market. Okay, don't do that, because I've seen a lot of students, they get derailed by jumping into other programming languages because someone from their family or someone from their friends or someone's brother who was working in the industry told them, hey, this language is very hot in the industry right now. I mean, it could be, it would be, but you should not derail yourself from that fact. Focus on that one programming language, learn that one programming language, and once you're comfortable and able to and confident enough to build different applications on it, then you can move to the other one based on the type of project that you get. That's the first request. That's the first advice that I would give you guys. The second is keep on learning, keep on reading. Keep reading. Okay, check out different articles on Medium. Follow people who you feel that are champions of the field. Follow them, see what they're doing. That would give you more motivation. And daily do some exercise to motivate yourself. Do some mantra to motivate yourself. Because see, motivation is like taking a bath. Okay, if you don't take a bath, after a few days, you're gonna start stinking. Okay, so you need to take bath after every now and then to take care of your hygiene, right? Motivation is exactly like that. You need to keep on taking those motivation pills. So it's not like, hey, you're motivated, now you can go on forever. No, it'll eventually dry down. It'll eventually wear out. You need to keep on motivating yourself. You need to keep on doing these personal mantras to you so that you are always motivated to do all of these stuff. So that's the other advice that I could give you. If you follow these few disciplines, being a programmer, learning how to code, it's just not about coding. It's about anything in life. You can achieve anything in life. It doesn't matter what do you want to do. If it's unless you want to do that, you love to do that, you can do anything.
Okay, so if a person is not good at programming, would you recommend him or her to get in the field of cloud?
I mean, if you're not good at programming and you don't want to be, you want to be in the tech industry, then yeah, definitely go for it. I mean, I have a lot of, DevOps engineers in my company, or should I say in my team. They weren't programmers, but they are very good DevOps engineers. I mean, very good. And a few of them are actually now architects.
Great. So, dear audience, we have sent the link to get connected to Sir Sumair Baloch. Sir, please, you should also connect them with you, because these people will be needing help in future as well, because maybe some people start learning cloud, so they'll be in touch with you for sure.
Yeah, so definitely, guys, if you have any questions, just drop me a message at and on LinkedIn. One of the key problems that I have is I reply late. I would reply you a bit late, okay? Because a lot of messages get cluttered, and there's a big chance that I might miss your message, or there's even a chance that I might read it and then I go like, okay, I'll reply him or her after I do this, and once I do that, I forget to reply back. Okay, then you need to ping me back again. Okay, for suppose if I've seen your message and you go like, okay, sir is ignoring me. No, I don't ignore you. It's just that I forgot to reply back to you. So yeah, but yeah, please get in touch with me, and definitely would love to help you guys out.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for taking out time for this session from your busy schedule. I know you are very busy, especially nowadays. So thank you so much.
No, I'm really glad that you guys invited me here. Loved to be a part of it. I have always, it's just recently that, because of my job responsibilities that I've been, a bit detached with the student community, but I once was very active in the community, and, trying to help out students and everything. I was one of the few, people who actually initiated MERN tech development in Hyderabad back in 2014-15, when people were always about Java and PHP. Nobody knew about MERN tech, so I had to do tabligh of MERN tech. So again, it was all about getting the students the right platform to do that. So definitely, we will inshallah be coming in Feb to Mehran to further talk more on these opportunities, and definitely would love to meet you guys all over there. So inshallah, looking forward to it.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for joining.
Thank you everyone. Have a good one. Bye. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Okay.